Alright, good morning. We'll be working on our lesson B, our fractional representation. So first of all, you have to ask of yourself, oh, this is funny. All right, let me go and set that zoom to, okay, there we go. Because this camera likes to autofocus, so it doesn't know either to focus on the paper or focus on my hand. So I have to let it know, just focus on the paper, that's it. All right, so when you go to the store and you may see something that is on sale, what does it say when it's on sale? What does it usually say? Say something, I don't know what you guys shop for. Toys?
No.
No? What do you guys shop for?
Games?
Boba. No.
Sorry?
Boba.
Boba,
Boba.
which is sort of soft drink.
Like bubble tea.
Bubble tea, okay. Say with the bobas. Okay. Say this is usually, I don't know, $5, right, per cup. And now it's 30% off. Okay. Seems like a good deal. But how much are you really paying for? Do you guys know? Yes, Aaron?
75%. 70% of the original price.
70% of the original price, okay? 70% of the original price. So basically, if I'm paying $5, this would be 100% of the price, correct? Yes? That's the original price. Sure, you have to pay for tax. However, let's assume that we don't pay tax, okay? Back then, you don't pay tax. I think it's before 1912 or something, right? Tax is only installed when our nation go to world war and fight against each other, and therefore government need to raise money to fight the war, and therefore they start to tax people. But anyways, assuming that we are living in a world that is tax-free, let's not worry about that for now. We will be later on. We'll be paying 100%. And here is saying that because we are now paying 30% off, it's 100% minus 30%, and that gives us what Aaron was telling us, 70%. Okay? 70% of what? Of the original price, okay? So if we want to find out how much are we really paying, we're gonna say, okay, so we are paying 70% of the original price, okay? Now that is in English. Let's translate that into math, okay? 70% of the original price. 70%, it's math already, so let's put that. Do you guys know what is off in math? Do you guys know what is off? Yes? No. This off. Off is a symbol in math. Yes?
Off means multiply.
Multiply. Thank you so much. 70% off, and of course the original price is $5. 70% of $5, or 70% times 5. All right. So what is that? 3 point something like that. But I know some of you could figure this out in your head. But what this essentially is saying that for every dollar that you are paying, you are not paying the full dollar. You just pay 30% of that. 70% of the full dollar that you are paying. This 30% you are not paying. Okay, what's 70% of $8? Do you guys know? What's 70% of $8?
500.
It would be cents, right? Like a dollar is 100 cents. Do you guys know that? Yeah, okay. So a dollar is 100 cents, and therefore 70% is how many cents? 70 cents. 70 cents, okay? So if I'm just paying 70 cents per dollar, therefore I'm paying oopsie, this should be same size, okay, pardon me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the 70 cents. Does that make sense? So that's 70 cents, that's 70 cents, 70 cents, 70 cents. Okay, 5 of the 70 cents. And you can add that together. By the way, well, you guys know multiplication table, don't you? So it would be 70 cents, if you want to do cents, times 5, or 0.7 of a dollar times 5, either or, okay? Do you guys know what that is? 0.7 or 0.70 if you want to see it in 70 cents, doesn't really matter. What is that? Yes. What's your name again?
Me?
Yes.
Ryan?
Ryan, yes. So I'm trying Mr. Chen has a terrible memory, okay? So I'm trying. I think it may have some like old people's mental illness or something. Anyways, what is it?
3.5.
3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you take 5 times 7 is 70. It's 35, right? So if you are using the multiplication table, it will write 35. However, because of the decimal there, we have to move the decimal to here. Let me go through the rationale here for you, okay? So this $725, hopefully you can figure that out in your head, but let me kind of expand that equation for you because that would be a little bit harder to see. So I'm gonna rewrite 0.7. Okay, notice that this is in decimal. It's kind of hard to figure out where the decimal point afterwards. So I'm gonna write this as 7 divided by 10. Can I do that? Are you sure? What does divide by 10 do? Shift the decimal 1 to here, correct? All right, so instead of 70 cents, I can write that as 7 divided by 10 times 5. The reason why I'm doing this is I'm helping you with mental math, okay? So notice here, if you have this, I have no more decimal to deal with. You see that? Then in my head, I can take 7 times 5, give me 35, and then I'll do the divide by 10, which is shifting the decimal from the right-hand side of the 5 to the left-hand side of the 5. And I put a dollar at the end. Does that make sense? Okay, so for every single question, when you have a percentage of question, something like this, you can use the technique, okay? But next, I would like you to visualize how does 70% look like. You all have one of this, correct? All right, so in each of this grid, can you count how many boxes you have on the left-hand side and the right-hand side? How many boxes do you have? Do you have 10 boxes down on the left and 10 boxes on the right? So altogether, how many boxes do you have? 100, all right? So each of these boxes represent 100%, okay? That is to say, each box represents what? If I have 100 boxes, each box is, okay, altogether is 100%. So you can see this percent as box. Okay, 100 box. Each box will be one box, 1%. Does that make sense? Okay, can you right now color in 70% for me? How does 70% look like? shade it in. Shade it in. Let's go. Shade it into the box. However you want to shade it. Okay. If you choose to shade each box individually, it's probably going to take you ages. But I choose to do it this way. Alright, so that's one way of shading it. I'm shading 70 boxes. The reason why now is because each row is 10, right? So if I shade 10 rows, I have 70 boxes or 70%. Correct? You can also choose to shade it differently. You can shade it by column if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter. I can shade 7 columns because it's measured the same left and right, right? So this would be also 70%. That would be 70%. And of course, on the left-hand side, what is left that is not shaded would be the other 30%. So everything has to add to 100 for 100%. Okay? All good? All good? So let me move on to one more example. I'm not really keep track of time here. Okay. Do you guys know what a mortgage is? Have you heard of the term mortgage? What is a mortgage? Anyone knows? No?
If you put like amount of the money in the bank and then for amount of the time they give you like
It's the other way around. Okay? Mortgage will be borrowing for a specific purpose. If you borrow money to buy a real estate, could be an apartment, could be a house, could be a townhouse, whatever. If it's for real estate purpose, we call that a special mortgage, which is a special name. A special borrowing, and that name is called mortgage. Okay. When you borrow money, they don't simply say, "Here you go, here's some money for you." The bank has to make earnings, right? They have to make a living to pay for their electricity, to pay for their shareholders. Therefore, they have to charge you a fee. Okay. There's gonna be a setup fee. There's gonna be like appraisal fee. But besides that, when you shop for mortgage, they will let you know a rate. Okay. What is the mortgage rate? Okay. So right now it's kind of historically low. It's around what? It's around 3%. 3% of what? Okay, every time you see 3% or 5% or 70%, on its own it doesn't really mean anything. You have to put it into context. Such as here on the left-hand side is 70% of the $5, right? So that's context. Okay. Whenever you see a percentage, you have to know, you have to ask, percentage of what? Okay. So over here, if you are borrowing money, they will charge you 3%. What's the question that you have to ask me? 3% of what, right? Of what you're borrowing. Say, for instance, you want to buy this mansion, a box house. Anyways, that it's on the market for, what do houses go nowadays? Pretty expensive. Say 2 million. I think that's about right. 2 million. How many zeros is after 2? 2 million. You guys know? 6? Okay, so each set of this zero actually means something. The first set of 0 to the right, it's 1,000 set. So if you have a 1 right here, that would be 1,000. And this next set is a million set, right? If you have 2 sets of zeros, that 2 means 2 million. Just in case if you don't remember. All right, so 3% of 2 million, they're gonna charge you as interest, not every day though, luckily, every year. Okay, so every year they would have to charge you this part as interest, And of course, you have to pay back a certain principal or certain money that you actually owe them. If you just pay the 3%, then a year after you still hold them the same amount of money. They won't accept that. You have to pay this money off over time, right? So besides the 3%, you have to pay a percentage to go and pay off the amount that you borrow. We call this principal. And this we call it interest. Okay, so that's what you have to do. So 3% would be common. Now, if you were to shop in between banks, some bank would give you a better offer, right? Some would say, hey, I'm gonna charge you 2.75%. Is that a better deal? Is that a better deal? Right? Interest is what you have to pay them, right? In order to borrow this money to buy a house. All right? So this is a better deal than 3%, correct? Yes? If I'm asking you to box in through a 2.75, well, let's do 3% first. How do I box 3%? Aaron? Color in 3 boxes. Does that look good? That looks good? Okay. So you can box any box, that's fine. I'm gonna call that 3%. And on the right hand side, I'm gonna have you box 2.75%. How do I box 2.75%? Wenjin, do you know? No? So 2.75 would be 2 boxes. Okay, so let's do that first. 2 boxes. I'm gonna do this ones. 1, 2. 0.75 of a box. How do I color 0.75 of a box? Emily, how do I color 0.75 of a box? No, this is 2.75%. I need to shade 2.75. So it's 2 and 75% of this box. Okay, so I have to find out 75% of the box. I'm gonna, you see this boxes on the right hand side, these are the magnify boxes. It's as I'm using a magnifying glass to look. I'm not an artist, I'm sorry. So 0.75. What is 0.75? Is that like half or a quarter or 3/4? What is it? Right, so you see, if I shade half of this, what is the percent in here, in that half a box? Sorry? 0.5%? Okay, so this one represents 0.5 of a percent. But I need 0.75. So I need to box more, right? Each quarter of this is what? It's half of 0.5, so this half will be 0.25%. Okay, so 0.25 plus 0.5 altogether, this represents 0.75 of a percent. All good? So altogether 2.75 would be, I'm gonna try to reproduce this 3/4 of a box over here, okay? So watch me. That's about right. Okay, so that would be representation for 2.75. Right, so those are 2 examples as lesson. I like to find something from the exercise I'm assigning you, just so that you don't run into anything that it's outrageously difficult. All right, so here are some more examples showing you percentage and fraction. Oh, I should do this. All right, what if you have more than 100%? When would you have more than 100%? How would that work? Okay, let's talk about taxes, shall we? Say that day you walk by the boba drink shop and you did not take up the offer, and now it's back on a regular price. This boba tea, it's now $5 again, and today you have to pay tax. Do you guys know how much percentage of tax are you paying? 12%. Okay, so this is it's what we call this is the price, and you have to pay 12% as tax. Okay, now we went over this. If you are paying the original price, you are paying 100%, and 12% on its own doesn't really mean anything. Okay, whenever you see percent, you have to see, well, 12% of what? What is this 12% of? Okay, so we have to pay 12% of something. We have to fill that in, which is what? 12% of the original price, right? Of $5, and that is our tax. And of course, we have to pay 100% of $5 because it's not on sale. This is the boba tea. Okay, so we have to figure out this individually. So you can say, well, let's figure out 12% of we know that's times and 5, 12% of 5. And we know 100% of 5, it's just 5. So what's 12% of 5? What's 12% of 5? Do you guys know? Yes. Sorry? 60? Okay, so let me help you out. Let's turn this into decimal first. So percent as decimal. Oh, by the way, do you guys know how to turn percent as decimal?
Yeah.
Yes? All right. What do? Move the decimal places? All right. So here's how you do it. Percent, decimal. 100% is 1. Okay. 200% is 2. 50% is 0.5. 10% is 0.1. 1% will be 0.01. Okay. How you do this would be assuming that you have a dot already on the right hand side of the ones place. Okay. Then you move that dot to the left twice, and that's the decimal representation. Of course, you have to add a 0 if there's empty space. Okay. So in this case, it's going to be 1, it's going to be 2, it's going to be 0.5, you put a 0 on the front. This case is going to be 0.1 because we move it twice. And here we have to fill in a 0, so we got 0.01 as the decimal. Okay. Alternatively, you are knowing that, hey, if I move in the decimal place to the left hand twice, all I'm doing is really divide by 100, am I? You guys know that? Moving the decimal is divide by or multiply by 10 or 100 or multiple of 10. Okay? If I move in the decimal to the left twice, I'm actually divided by 100. So this 0.12, I can really write it as 12 divided by 100. This is equivalent of 12%. Okay? There's a reason why I want to write it like that. Times 5. Because in this case, without decimal or percent, we just have integers. This is easier to work with. Just do this in your head. If you know 12 times 5 gives you 60, into 60. Divide by 100, and then you can do this in your head. Just move the decimal 1, 2, 0.6. Okay, so this would be the tax. So altogether, how much you're paying? Altogether, you're paying the $5. You're paying the $0.6. Altogether, this tea is gonna be price tag at $5.60. That's how much you end up paying. All right, and $5.60. Altogether, you are paying 112% of $5. Can I get you to color in 112%? And then I'll send you to your work, okay? So 112%. We know that each of this 10 by 10 100 boxes is my 100%. Notice that each box is 1%. And I need more boxes. What do I do? I'm gonna spill over here, okay? 12. Each row would be 10. And I need 2 more little boxes. There we go, okay? If I were to need some fraction of boxes, then I'll be using this magnified box, but in this case, that's not the case. Okay, so here we present the percent, and dollar-wise, if you're put this in context, you have to figure out then, okay, so what is the tax part, and then I need to add the original price back in to figure out how much I'm paying. Okay, so I think that's enough to get you going. For assignment though, so scroll down to where it says assignment. Oh, right here, okay. I'm gonna get you to do, these are simple. Why don't you go till 16, okay? I'm not sure either I want to assign you more to do, but go up to 16 for now, okay? You can return to your desk and get it done, okay? Thank you so much.